Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Wherever you're watching us from, you're watching another episode of The Hard Zone on the Liberia Radio and Television Network. My name is Derek Galley, and let me take this time to wish you all a happy new year. We've entered the year 2023, and this is the very first episode of The Hard Zone. So let me welcome all of you back to The Hard Zone and, of course, to this brand new year. Before I get into the show, let me encourage you, as always, to follow the network on Facebook and YouTube. And of course, please do us this favor and share the program to your social media page via Facebook and Instagram. So this is the Hard Zone. My name is Derek Galley, and we have a beautiful program for you today. Beginning with the current events in Liberia. The Liberia National Fire Service failed to put off a fire on Bruce, Bushra Island because, as it is reported, its fire trucks had no fuel. Two children perished in a fire that broke out in a residential building on Monday. And Rodney Sear, the CEO of Front Page Africa Liberia, announced the date for the release of his book, George Weah, The Story of Africa's Footballer President, the Unauthorized Biography. And the Liberty Party political leader, Senator Yombly Kanga Lawrence. Let me read that again. I'm sorry. Liberty Party political leader, Senator Yombly Kanga Lawrence. She will accept to be a running mate to Unity Party's Joseph Boakai in the 2023 presidential and legislative elections if the former vice president chooses her. So that is the information coming to our correspondent that Senator Yombly Kanga will accept to be the running mate to former vice president Joseph Boakai if he chooses her. And also on the international portion of our current events, we would like to talk about the incident involving the Bugatti man, Kizz Daniel. But before I do that, let me bring you one more current events in Liberia, and that is the another mysterious death, murder in the EBK barrack. The tragic death of an adolescent named Gento Bryant, who left Dwazon community to visit a friend in the EBK barrack on Christmas Day, where he where he mysteriously died. And official reports acquired from the father of the late Gento Bryant, Mr. Jesse Bryant, stipulates that his son had left home in Dwazon, where he was at his mother's place before visiting his friend, who was named Abraham Harris, in the EBK barrack to spend the holiday. So Gento Bryant mysteriously died on Christmas Day. Before I go into our international segment of our current events, let me have let me introduce you to my panelists for this episode. We have with us Mr. Jawinkin Weah and Honorable Sylvester Wamplu. Let me first introduce you guys to the Horizon audience, and then I will introduce the current events segment. That is the Bugatti dancer Kizz Daniel being disgraced in Liberia. But let me first introduce my panelists. Mr. Jawinkin Weah, welcome to another episode and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Derek, and Happy New Year to the LRTN team. At this time, I'd like to take the time to say my sympathy to the CEO of the LRTN, Mr. Anderson. May God guide you and your family as you go through this. Thank you, everybody. Happy New Year, Liberians.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jawinkin Weah. And to you, Honorable Sylvester Wamplu, welcome to another episode and Happy New Year.
Thank you, Derek. And let me begin to say Happy New Year to all of our listeners. And we are in 2023. This is a brand new year, and people will experience different things. People are expecting their expectations of improvement in life, and so many opportunities. So we want to say the Happy New Year to everyone, and we are back for the brand new year. And thank God for our life, and thank God for the life of every member of the LRTN family for giving some of us the opportunity to stay on the platform to discuss key global and national issues. So thank you again, there.
Thank you very much. And just taking the words out of our panelists' mouth, This show we discuss national issues and, of course, our slogan: no gimmick, no fluff, just real talk. But hey, I would like to Sylvester and Mr. Jawinkin. We would like to take you guys off of national issue of anything political, so we can talk about this Kizz Daniel incident, because I feel like it concerns our one of the key industry in our country, the entertainment industry, and it can somehow be considered political if you guys want to see it like that. So just to break the news, you guys have seen it everywhere. The Bugatti dancer Kizz Daniel was scheduled to perform on the 30th of December last year, but the show was later postponed to December 31st. Unfortunately for Kizz Daniel, he was met with an empty stadium, and he was frustrated about the incident. But let's talk about the story surrounding this show. So we I saw on MC Carol Facebook page where she refused to perform on the show because, according to her, the organizer had refused to pay her, asking her to perform for free. But let me get you guys' opinion on this entire incident. On this entire incident, what does this mean for our country? Sylvester, give me your take on it. I know this is putting you on the spot, but let me hear you out.
Well, and everyone in Liberia want to see our musical industry and improve, most especially when they talk about the culture and tourism, and because people want to have an entertainment, people want to have happiness, freedom of mind, and these departments are very important to our country for extraction. But sadly, to see that we invite an international artist to perform and Liberians did not turn up, whether it was a pulled or organizing aspect from the organizers, and listening to our Liberian musicians complaining that they were called to perform for free. I don't believe that some of them who claiming that they were called for free to perform is true. I don't want to accept that for now. But also, what I got was they say that their money was small, and they want to be compared to the international artists. Everyone is saying that we should pay Liberian artists. A Liberian artist you have good salary, and not in terms of salary because they're not working for anybody, but people should follow the industry in terms of their performance that would draw attention, because I believe that identical segment of life, you pay yourself, you self-employed, because you're nobody going to put you on payroll unless you are a brand ambassador for an organization or for the business. So they do the compensations. But bringing people on the stage, because people bringing an international person on the stage to perform with that person and for you to elevate, and then everybody standing their back off is an embarrassment to us as a country.
Sylvester,
Because
let me hold you right there. I know we're supposed to talk about this very briefly, but let me ask you this two question based on what you just said. This question, I mean, you say you don't believe that some of those artists were asked to perform for free. Now, does that include MC Cara? And the reason I'm asking you, because she made a Facebook post where she said she won't. There's no more free show. She doesn't work for charity. And there was an interview done by the organizer of that show where she made an example saying that even some artists, some non-famous Nigerian artists, perform for free in the past. She made that analogy with Kizz Daniel. When Kizz Daniel was coming out, he even performed for free. So with that information, are you still saying that you don't believe that they were asked to perform for free?
well, and MC Carol level, I don't think that she was asked to perform for free.
You just don't think so? All right.
Yeah,
All right.
because
We're supposed to discuss this very
it's a
briefly.
it's
Let
a
me tell.
what I see in it was about dissatisfactions in the mind of
Okay.
performance. So she
All right.
considered it to be completely free.
Okay. Dissatisfaction, whatever you want to put it. I just want to get your take on it. Let's come to you, Mr. Jai Winkin. What do you make of the entire incident?
Okay. What I can say first to begin with, growing up in Negro Town, Liberians, we used to see Malawala Balawala movies. Those days, Fatu Devla. So what I'm trying to say is that Liberia really in the past before the war their Liberia was improving even before the coming of the Nigerian movies. So I think the problem in Liberia is the infrastructure. Like when the artists are talking about being paid, I don't think people pay artists even here in the West. Artists get sponsors based on their production, then they get paid out of what they produce based on the quality, based on the buying power, all that kind of stuff. When the music is popular, so the problem in Liberia, what I can say is that we haven't really organized. The structure is broken. Um, so even though Sylvester is saying that he didn't think it was because of money business, where in Liberia, like I don't know who can really come out to say pay the artists, even if you were to charge people to go to the movie free. I mean to go pay money. Most people are not working, so they cannot afford. So I don't think the artist in question expected to be paid compared to if what you are saying compared to the international artists. Because in Liberia, people cannot afford to pay a certain amount of money to go watch people perform. People do duplicate of even if you were to produce any music, they prefer buying on the sidewalk, like people do all that stuff. So we have problem in Liberia. So all boils down to the structure. Until we work on structure, the structural problem in Liberia is not only like economic, but it's everything is broken in Liberia. So we need to work our musical structure as well in Liberia.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jad Winking. We are, and just to close on this subject, and we do not know for sure because our personally wasn't there for the meeting between MC Kara and that of the organizer. But if the story is true that MC Kara refused to perform because she was asked to perform for free, I think that that was wrong, and I front against that very strongly. And also on the issue of Liberia now showing up on the stadium to watch Kizz Daniel perform, I think it's unfortunate because Kizz Daniel is one of the best performer in Africa. I mean, the Cough song and that of the Bugat. I think it's unfortunate, but also if Liberia did not show up because they were standing with MC Carroll, they were sending that message out there that brand artists need to be looked at and need to be paid more for their work. Then I stand with them because I think it's about time that Liberian artists be paid what they deserve for the amount of work they put the amount of time they put into their craft. So I stand with Liberia. If that was the reason for which they did not show up on that day to see kids, then I think we need to stand with Liberian artists more, and that will encourage them to make songs that will bounce on the international stage. But that's it for that discussion. We brought up something very strange to talk about our current events. But thank you guys for your contribution on that subject matter. And before we take a break, I would like to acknowledge and announce to the general public that our CEO lost his mother, and I was going to start this off in the beginning of the show. Lost his mother, and I personally would like to extend my condolence with him. And in honor of her memory, I would like to ask that we observe a 1 minute of silence before we take a very brief break, beginning right now. Well, thank you all very much, and to you, the CEO of Liberia Radio and Television Network, I would like to extend my deepest condolence and my sympathy to you and your family during this period of bereavement. And I pray and hope that you all find comfort in the Lord and that He will comfort you all during this period of bereavement. But until then, to you watching us, this is the Liberia Radio and Television Network. You're watching the Hard Zone with Derek Yale. With my panelists, Mr. Jai Winkin, we are Honorable Sylvester Wamplu. We will take a very brief break, and when we come back, we will talk about what the former vice president hope of becoming on seating the president of Liberia strongly depend on his relationship with the former president, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. I'll see you after the break.
Hey there. Many Liberians are members of social clubs, 501c NGOs, and school alumni. Many Liberians are trying to open their own 501c NGOs, home care agencies, and social clubs. Does your organization have a professional website? Does your web platform have the right wording and content to attract grants? Hopefully you're not running your organization only through social media. There's a more professional route. You need an online space where you can craft a positive message about your organization, making your home health agency more credible, which will increase your chances to receive grants. We'll build you a responsive platform for 501c organizations, healthcare agencies, and other types of organizations. We'll provide you with full website maintenance, membership sign-in, private charts, Facebook and WhatsApp integration, live video feed for all your meetings and special occasions, a dashboard for members to see all the activities, and email and text auto reminders for meetings. We'll build with donors and 501cs in mind, and will help you solicit grants and automatic membership due collections. Building you this amazing platform will only be a membership fee of $19 a month. Call or email us now. Let's upgrade your website. Home health agencies and small businesses, you owe it to your company to project the best image possible, and we can make it happen. Visit www.tiamit.com or call 215-966-8679. Ask for Tommy.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're watching us from. My name is Derek Yale, and you're watching episode 6, season 2 on the horizon in 2023. Again, happy new year to all of you. And if you're watching us, continue to engage the program in the comment section. And also, please share the program on your social media page and encourage you and your loved ones to follow the network on Facebook and YouTube as well. Let me welcome back my panelists back to the screen, and we will get right into talking about the first issues we have to discuss here. I have a very interesting question that's concerned the relationship with the former vice president and that of the former president, that is Jose Yuma Boakai and Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, respectively. Now, is the United Party standard bearer, that is Jose Yuma Boakai, success in the 2023 elections contingent upon the support of Ellen Johnson Sirleaf? Before I give you guys the opportunity, let me briefly read this article that talks about both of them relationship. They started up as two friends from their days in grade school at the College of West Africa. Back in the days, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf and her vice president, Mr. Jose Yuma Boakai, were friends even after high school. They maintained their friendship even in the diaspora until 2005, when they decided and agreed to run for the country's highest office, president and vice president respectively. Even as president and vice president, they remained best of friends right up until 2017. And how does that story end? We all do know that very well. But let's talk about their relationship, both of their relationships since 2017. And then after, we will talk about, is that relationship necessary for Jose Yumambwaka to unseat President Weah? Is it contingent? Let me start with you, of course, the Honorable Sylvester Wamplu. Talk to us about the relationship of Jose Yumambwaka and that of Ellen Johnson Sirleaf.
Okay, thank you. And as far to my knowledge, and our former standard bearer, Her Excellency Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, and our current standard bearer, Ambassador Jose Yuma Boakai. I just read the article tell you about their fine and long-lasting relationship. So as far as concerned, and I, as a member of the Unity Party, and their personal relationship still remains, and probably they may have policy difference issues, mainly when it comes to the party level, because Ellen is not a is not an active partisan again of the Unity Party. So that one, I got information so that they
Oh,
are
you,
good, and I ambassador to us.
oh, you,
He always say this to everyone, to every Sirleaf. It's always been cool, and he have never one day told Liberian that Madam Sirleaf is not supporting him. Even in the 2017 elections, as it were claimed by Liberians that Ellen did not, it was not supporting him. Every platform he went to, and they asked him what is their relationship, and with Ellen, in terms of your support, I quote his response is, Ellen is supporting me in and much he have never come up with a public statement to say I'm not supporting Boakai. I don't think I believe that she's not supporting me, but as far as concerned, she is supporting me. So every other decision she chooses to make at the park, that decision is hers, but he was not to his knowledge. So when that their personal relationship have started way back, and even at the times maybe some of us were not even born, or we were too young. So they have been close. Even the son of Boakai Jr. and he's a close friend to the family of Ellen. Is one of Ellen's best sons among Boakai children, Joseph Boakai Jr. He's one of the, even Ellen travels for information that I got. Even Ellen traveling today, he will know that Ellen is traveling today because he have been a close person to the family. So for their relationship, it's okay. But when it comes to whether Ellen is a factor
no,
or
I wanted you
winning,
to talk. I wanted you to talk about their relationship first. So I will come back to you. I have question along the line of what you were just
okay.
saying.
So
Let let
okay, that's
let me
okay.
give
So their relationship is
Mr.
good.
Weah the
Yeah,
opportunity to open
yeah.
on this topic. Mr. Weah, talk to us about the relationship of our former president and former vice president. Mr. Weah.
Okay, thank you. I listened to Ambassador Boakai myself in one of his interviews, and someone, I mean, the guy who was doing the interview asked him that question. And what he did say was that he didn't know what happened during the 2017 election. The only way he put it was, as far as he concerned, there is no issue. But Ellen did what she did, but he doesn't know about, as far as he concerned, there is no issue between or him and Ellen from his own mouth, from that interview that I listened to. Uh, but I think Sirleaf is a typical politician. During the election, from what I learned, I was in Liberia too, that Sirleaf was somewhat afraid that the ambassador was going to make people to be prosecuted, the international, something that we all talk about, the tribunal we all talk about. And based on that fear, she wanted this was Raymond. This was, I have no proof that what I was being said in Liberia. Based on that fear, he needed someone like Weah that she could control that would not bring about prosecuting anybody. But having said that, the fact that Sirleaf herself refusing from nothing from the first, I mean, from the election of Weah to this point, not endorsing, not saying anything, that means she has issue with Boakai. She's playing politics. I think she stepped at the back, and I think what she did, in my own opinion, to Boakai was unfair because this man served him in all the 12 years. The man never challenged her because he was a vice president. He was playing the role as his vice president, and in time, Sirleaf dumped him. I don't know for what reason. So for now, I don't really know whether the Sirleaf is trying to right it wrong by issuing a check or by talking to people that she talked to before. Probably she's disappointed right now with President Weah, as more Liberians did with Weah, because of bad performance, because there is an expectation of the appointment with Sirleaf. So probably she might try at this time to support Boakai.
Let me stay with you, Mr. Weah. Just I know you said is It's just gossip. I don't know if that's the word you use. But let me ask you this question. We know Joseph Yeman Boakai. Some refer to him as a pillar of wisdom. He's a very wise man, very good of a statement. Now, in your opinion, like you just said, I think Ellen has some problem with him. What problem so much that Ellen will have with the former vice president that she will pick a man that she knows very well was incompetent to lead Liberia at the time? What can you say about that?
There has been a drumbeat for prosecuting people who really destroy the country. Sirleaf was one of those in one of the in your BBC interview, calling on Taylor to level Liberia on the ground that it was going to be rebuilt. I remember that very well, BBC interview, and disappointingly, probably Taylor was used to wage the war and power over to the politician. But as Taylor gained ground, he refused to do that. I think they were all disappointed with Taylor and started breaking away. So I think Sirleaf cannot say she's not part of the destruction of Liberia. I think when there is an international tribunal today, I think she will be invited.
So you were saying that, or you think that Ellen supported Weah because she thought that Joseph Yeman Boakai would have persecuted people that participated in the war.
Yeah, we will allow it. She
would have allowed that persecution to go on.
To go ahead to appear and testify what she knew about the war based on her past record from the statement she made. I understand that we were also told that we should not have proof about, like, even for Taylor to be released from prison from Massachusetts, it was Sirleaf in order that raised money in the United States that allowed Taylor to be released from prison in Massachusetts. So when there is a tribunal, I think, when there is the international war crime, Sirleaf, I think she should be invited to testify what she knows about the war in Liberia and the destruction.
Thank you very much, Mr. Weah. Let me come back to you, Honorable Sylvester Wamplu. Now, you can respond to what Mr. Weah just said, because he said it was alleged. We shouldn't take his word for it. You can either give your take on that, and also I'd like for you to respond to my question based off of what you were saying. Now, you made it seem, from what I understood, that this problem between Ellen and Joseph Yeman Boakai is just from her side. Joseph Yeman Boakai is good. Every time he does an interview, he says everything is okay between him and the former president. So this is all her problem. But may I remind you that since the former vice president started having Facebook account last year, it was the very first year that he did not wish the former president a happy birthday on his official Facebook page. Now, talk to us about that, since this problem apparently to you just coming from the former president. Talk to us about that, and also you can respond to Mr. Jai Winken Weah claim.
Okay, and I don't think that Mr. Weah make a claim, and he only validated what we were saying. Mr. Boakai have never, on any public radio, to say that Ellen is not supporting me, and in much Her Excellency have not make a public pronouncement that she is not supporting the VP, her former VP, and I must say I have issues that if she do or why is up to now she did not make a public statement, or the way other vice president or former presidents can support their other candidates after elections. Well, after the attorney, and she's not doing that, I too have an issue with her, because we from the same party, right? And the party make Ellen the president, and the party supported her to the presidency. People give their life. People do everything. People build the party. Madam Sirleaf did not build Unity Party. Madam Sirleaf met Unity Party as a political institution that she did her part, but institutions that were established, institutions that had a mark, and the institutions stood with her for three executive elections: 1997 elections, 2005 elections and 2017 elections. So, and for me, my issues I have with her is for my own life and the other life of other Liberians and partisans who believe in the party. So, Madam Sirleaf knows that from 1997, there were partisans, there were young people who got inspired by her work and decided to join the party. And they also get inspired by the party activities and its own agenda or how she decided to run things. And 2005, 2097, 2005, 2011, up to 2017, people grow. Now, people were young, somebody were 18 years, 1997, and voted for you. So after 6 years, the mayor was 24, he gave you another vote. The mayor was 32, he gave you another vote. So he was 32 years if somebody was consistently voting Madam Sirleaf and from 1997 up to 2011. At the age of 18, he was almost 34 years of age of his life, dedicating it to you as a president to lead his vision and his political life. Now, at the middle of the water, after you got successful, you left the party in a loophole that today we are facing challenges with. That's my issue I have with Madam Sirleaf. That's my own issue I have with her as a partisan. But when it comes to the relationship of she and Ambassador Boakai, that is a personal relationship. And in as much both of them keep saying there is nothing happening between both of us, there's nothing between them. He always maintained it, and I respect him for his word that as far as he concerned, he is early in school. Now, when it comes to the issue of his Facebook page of now wishing him a happy birthday, anybody can wish somebody birthday.
He always done that for the past.
Probably maybe you were in a position. Probably you were in a position that you were not able to send a message at the time. It just happened to me today. Yeah, it just happened. It just happened to me today. It just happened.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, it just happened to me today. Or somebody who really support my vision, and I consistently sometimes when I'm stranded in my political activity, when I text and say we need to do this and I want you to help me, that person normally does do this. Today is their birthday, I forget at all.
So that is the excuse. That is the excuse you're making for.
No, it happened today. I forget at all.
Let me give you a break, Sylvester. I'll come back to you. Let's move on to whether the former Vice President candidacy to unseat President Weah is contingent to his relationship with the former president. Talk to us about that. Do you think Standard Bearer Jose Boakai need to have Ellen on his side to win the election? Mr. Weah.
Oh yes, okay. Well, I just want to add one thing. There is no question that there has been problem between Boakai and Sirleaf. They may not say it publicly, but the fact that Sirleaf did not endorse Boakai publicly up to this point, it means there is a problem. Boakai also knows that Sirleaf has supporters and some influence somewhere, so he does not want to angle these people. He wants to maintain the support of Sirleaf supporters. That is why he's saying what he's saying. It's a typical politics. But to the question of whether Boakai needs Sirleaf to win the presidency of Liberia in his second attempt is relative to me. The going election the runner was between Weah and Boakai. And many people thought Boakai was part of Sirleaf government. They needed a new breed. So if you were to put Boakai and Weah on the stage today, the Liberian people are going to compare Weah, what Weah has done for the past 5 years, even though Boakai has been the vice president a long time in government, but Boakai actually has not served as president. The presidency is more powerful in Liberia than just serving in government. If he's serving in government in Liberia, you either resigned or do what the president wants you to do. So in this case, I do not know what Boakai would need Sirleaf for, because Sirleaf up to this point has not come out based on the popularity of Boakai that one people is talking about. It didn't happen because of Sirleaf coming out to endorse Boakai. I think the Liberian people comparing the regime of Weah, who they trusted as a new coming, as a new breed, to right the wrong of it. It appears that he doubled down on doing the worst thing. He's occupying the wrong structure of governance and even doing worse than the regime of Sirleaf and others. So for that reason, to win, for formula to for between Boakai and Weah, I don't think Boakai needs Sirleaf endorsement. It will be between the performance of Weah Tenu as a president and Boakai as a vice president.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ja Winkin. Let me come to you, Honorable Sylvester Wamplu. Same question: the relationship between Ellen and that of Jose Yuman Boakai in his candidacy. Do you think the former vice president need Ellen Johnson Sirleaf to unseat President George Madam Weah? Honorable Sylvester Wamplu, are you with us?
And he's froze.
Well,
That's computer.
we already have ran out of time. So, guys, if you're watching us on Facebook, thank are you back with us, Sylvester? I don't think you are. Well, guys, if you're watching us, continue to engage the program in the comment section, and of course, tell us: do you think former Vice President Jose Yimambuaga needs the support of former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf to unseat President George Manuel Weah in the elections coming up this year? But that is it for this segment of the Hard Zone. My name is Derek Yale. Continue to engage us in the comment section. Leave us your feedback on the show, and also follow us on Facebook and YouTube as well. The network is LRTN on Facebook and Liberia Radio and Television Network on YouTube as well. We will take a very brief break, and when we come back, we will bring you more on national discussions in Liberia, and we will be talking about what you can find out when we come back from this break. Welcome back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching the Hard Zone on the Liberia Radio and Television Network. And my name is Derek Yale, and I have a beautiful program for you here today. You can tell that by the previous segment you just watched. We talk about former Vice President Jose Yimambuaka and his candidacy to unseat President Weah next year. We'll talk about that, looking at his relationship with the former president of Liberia. Now, let's get into another subject matter. Let me welcome back my panelists on the screen, and let me take this time to introduce to you Reverend Addy, who just joined us. Let me first say welcome to another episode and Happy New Year. So, welcome to the Hard Zone, Reverend Addy. You're muted. Are you hearing us?
Yes, I'm so sorry. I was
Yes,
on
sir.
mute.
Go ahead.
I said greetings to all of you wonderful panelists and great listeners. Happy New Year.
Thank you, Reverend Adi, and it's good to have you back on this network. So, guys, our next topic: the president will be addressing the nation on the State of the Nation address. So, as you all know, the Constitution of our country, specifically Article 58, mandate the president to address the nation on the fourth working Monday of each year. Last year he did that on January 24th. And this year he will be, I don't have the date on top of my head, but he will be addressing us again, and that is upcoming. And the president, as mandated by the Constitution, he should give report on the state of the republic, covering the economic condition of the nation, including expenditure and income. So let me bring this conversation to all of you. Let's talk about what are we looking forward to. You can reference the previous State of the Nation address, and then let's talk about it from that angle. What do you think about of President Weah's upcoming sixth State of the Nation address? Let me start with you, Mr. Ja Winkin Weah.
Thank you, Derek. Well, I hope President Weah will be strict with the Liberian people to really point out his failures in government. I know he has some advisors that tell him to say that things are right. For example, we're just talking about the role of the Rabat International Airport, which is very, very discouraging to travelers. That if you arrive at the airport at night, you are advised to go to Monrovia in the night. Usually, the such speech is about the status of the country economically, politically, and security-wise. I hope you'll be able to tell Liberian people to address the issue of the mysterious killings and what his government is doing about that. Under his regime, we haven't heard about any prosecution about the killings. We haven't heard anything about the action his government is taking. And things are very, very terrible in Liberia. I hope you'll be very frank with the people. You shouldn't tell them that Liberia is like Florida or Miami, because that is not the truth. So my expectation is that President Weah should be very bold and say where he succeeded, what his country is going. The last time I listened to the information minister as well, that information ministry got about $17,000 to operate as a ministry. So what I can say, the Liberian people expect a lot from a president. They expected Weah to be a change. Can he really pivot and say he learned from the past and he's going to do better? So that's what I hope to hear from him.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ja Winkin Weah. And let me come to you, Reverend Adi. Talk to us about your expectation on the president upcoming State of the Nation address.
Well, I'm certainly looking to hearing from the president whether or not he will fast forward cases as reported by the LACC that led to the accusation or allegation of members of his government that were sanctioned. I would like to see him tell us about the security of the state, the economy, the resolution around the rice issue, efforts to improve education, which is very underfunded, education and health, how he intends to address the life expectancy of Liberians who are living up to 63 years old. I'd like to see a president update us on the forthcoming elections, what security measures are in place, how we intend to go about, and how far we are on the issues of the census. So there are several crisis issues that the president needs to address that Liberians have been long waiting for. Solution on rice, solution on the RIA fund, the $11 million unaccounted for, the $2 billion unaccounted for the $16 billion investigation, the overwhelming expenditure government seems to be incurring. His trip, 48 days out of the country, what tangibles he's brought back. that we can kind of point to, anticipate. So I'm looking to hear the president make the case to the Liberian people. Will he kind of speak to those Liberians this time around, since a formal speech talk to them concerning their entire suffering and how he intends to address those issues around food security, security of person in the capital, and all of the geography.
Thank you, Reverend Addy. Now, let me draw you guys' attention to this, because this State of the Nation address, the president is supposed to use this opportunity to talk about economic condition. You guys covered that pretty well in your introduction on this topic. Now, you guys are pretty abreast when it comes to issues in Liberia. What are some economic gains that the president that you guys can point to, that you think the president will include in his State of the Nation address? And let me stay with you on this. What are some economic gains that you think President Weah can point to for the past year?
Well, I'm sure the president will tell us his regularized civil servants pay every time he catches up. He described it as regularization. You know, but he hasn't done all bad job. There's some positive things that has been done, such as the construction of the hospital donated by the Sheikh, or the Premier of the United Emirates Republic, Sheikh Mohammed, which the president dedicated as a donation to Liberia. So yes, those are good things that will spur economic growth in Bapalu. And when you look at the business atmosphere that's being created to facilitate investment, some challenges with the Western Cluster deal, ArcelorMittal and other companies like Elanito, and how up to now there's about $140 million yet need to be discussed and resolved in terms of appropriations. So yes, jobs may have been, or economic activities may be happening in those areas, but to what benefit for the people is harmonized salary, whilst at the same time increased taxes, which furthers hardship on the Liberian people. So there are some things we can kind of point to as maybe economic gains that we're looking forward to, but there's serious more corruption in the government that is hampering the economic activity to foster growth and development in the country.
Thank you, Mr. John Winkin. We take a stab at that. What are some economic gains that the president of Liberia can point to in his State of the Nation address?
Well, I will look at it from a different perspective. I will expect from Mr. Weah to thank Liberians that are outside, that are sending money every month to their relatives in Liberia. That helps to create jobs and help the growth of the economy as well. Without these remittances to Liberia, the stores, allowing people buy, there will be no buying power. I know you point to the building of roads, the building of hospitals, and I hope that these structures will not only be the usual thing, where after the construction, there are no medication, there are no doctors, there is nothing of that people will be relying on this stuff. So my hope is that you should not count this just construction, but how are they going to really help to improve the lives of the Liberian people? What is the timeline? How are they going to internalize that at this time of the year, this is what we expect to happen? That's what I expect for him to say. Or that. So for me, I do not look at just the construction of buildings. I'm looking at, after the construction of the infrastructure itself, how does it impact the lives of Liberians? Drugs for the schools, drugs for the hospitals, or textbooks. Children who are out of school for this, what is the assistance? Not only the University of Liberia, but those who are in primary education from elementary level. What is he going to do?
Thank you very much, Mr. John Winkin Weah. And guys, let's stay on the issue of the economic condition of our country. Now, to those watching us, I want for us to break this down to our audience. Now, when the president addressed the nation, gave the State of the Nation address. Welcome back, Sylvester Wamplu. He talks to the Liberian people. He gives them the overall condition of the economy. So I want you guys to talk to the audience. What should they be listening to? And if you guys can, talk to them, tell the Liberian people what exactly is the economic condition, what they should be listening for, what they should be listening to hear the president say. So let's educate them. Let everyone take the radio or whatever means they have to listen to the president and listen to the president. Tell them about their economic condition. What should they be listening for? What should be their expectation given the current economic condition in our country? Mr. Honorable Sylvester Wamplu, I don't want to put you on the spot if you've been following the conversation. We're talking about the State of the Nation address that will be delivered by President Weah as mandated by the Constitution of Liberia on the fourth working Monday of January of the new year. So now talk to us about what should the Liberian people expect. Talk to them about what is the actual, what is the phrase economic condition, what does that really mean, and what they should expect from their president. Let me start with you, Honorable Sylvester Wamplu.
Okay, thank you. And Liberians really sometimes um, don't. Many of them don't understand the yearly annual report that the president should be addressing and what key issues to address or that will meet their expectations. And I honor the leadership of President Weah. His supporters don't look for key message. They think about how eloquent he's going to be. They are worried whether he will not make mistake. He will deliver in the pitch.
Mr. Wamplu, you're sounding very low. I'm sorry to
Yeah,
cut you off.
yeah.
No, I'm not
So,
cutting you off. You have our undivided attention, but you're sounding very low. I want to hear you.
well, I said, you getting me?
Much better now.
Okay, I said this under the leadership of President Weah, his supporters don't really care. They don't really care about what the president should deliver and that will meet their expectation. Their worry can be they did not make mistake. They only careful of whether he will make mistake or not. That should be their focus. But let us hear this. The president has a responsibility to report to us as a citizen the achievement he gives and the prospects of the country. What have he done with our national resources, with our budget, of our yellow budget? What impact have it made? And look at the key economic issues of job employment under his leadership. He should be telling us how many persons he have given job have been provided, how our GDP have increased on for the past 1 year. What is the prospect of it growing and beyond or in his second year? These are things. How many present we look at crimes, how many crimes were committed and how were they addressed? And I look at the rule of law and how is the progress of the judiciary branch of government and at the Supreme Court that lawyers are not taking pay. The danger of lawyers are not taking pay to the extent that they have to summon the prime minister. It is not a good sign for a poor man who does not have money to go to run after his kids. It tells you that when you are poor in the country, you will not get money. You will not get justice. I mean, when you are poor, you won't get justice. So what the president, their expectation should be, our expectation should be, what are the key issues and what are the progress President we are going to make to correct these mistakes in our justice system, to reform our police, to empower them because the police does not have the logistics. We are talking about domestic. We are talking about rampant killing in the country. And we look at armed robbery. You look at people have been terrorized, and in terms of getting their people harass them from their property. How can we empower the police when the police do not even have a 10 rules? The president should be addressing the nation on those issues because logistics are very paramount in everything to do for the police functions. So these are key departments the president needs to address, and he needs to tell us the functions. And he should also be making it clear to us, as an individual, I will be listening to the president report after 5 years. According to a PAP plan, he tells that in 5 years' time, he will connect all capital cities to Morocco. What is the progress of the road that he promised to Liberia? And now we are in 6 years. So he just been completing his 5 years. We are now in his 6 years. What happened to the road connectivity with Maryland County, connecting to Nimba, connecting to River Cess, connecting to Grand Judah, and we are in the 5 years. So I want to know the progress. So these are things Liberia should be listening to. So thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Wamplu. Let me come to you, Reverend Addy. Now, I want you to answer the question, keeping in mind, or I want you to answer this question as to if you're speaking to the man mirror. Now, this is the last time the president will get to give the State of the Nation address before the Liberian will get to choose as to if they will keep him or pick another person. Now, I want you first to tell them what exactly is the economic condition of the country in man mirror terms, and when they're going to be listening to the president, what should they be looking forward to hearing? Talk to us, Reverend Addy.
Okay, thank you. So, to my Mary, as the president is talking, I want you to ask yourself, is my life already now? The thing he's talking, is he changing? Is he going to do things that will change my life? That I will be able to put food on my table? As the president is talking, my Mary, you must be asking yourself, am I able to send my child to school for my way of market? As the president is talking, you must be asking yourself, is he doing anything that I will be able to go to hospital when I have sickness that need to be resolved by the doctor? We need to ask yourself those questions. If the president not answering it, then you got a decision to make whether or not you happy with the way your life is now, or you want your life to get better. The economy, Liberia, you're living in, are you able to buy food and eat and still have some money over to maybe pay your lead bill, pay your telephone bill, send your child to school? These are real questions that we got to ask ourselves. Is the economy working for you as it is? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Reverend Addy, and I love the fact that you do that because keep in mind, guys, we talk about this for us, but we also talk about this issue about people that don't have the means to talk for themselves. So we're speaking for the voiceless. So let's break it down to the level. This is the biggest man in the republic that is about to tell us about the republic in the last 365 days. So to you, Mr. Ja Winkin, we are speak to the like of my Mary. Tell him or her, or my Mary, or whoever it is, or her husband, talk to them on what they should expect from the president of Liberia as he is about to deliver the State of the Nation address for the last time before they make a decision as to whether they will keep him or not.
Okay, thank you. To all Liberians, whether young or boy and girl, you should ask yourself a question. What will I depend on hope if I go in the street tomorrow? Will it be on prayer that, oh, today if I go to town, somebody gonna give me money? Is there any opportunity that will make you not to think about that? To young girls who sell their body or for school fees, let them ask themselves whether Mr. Weah will do something to prevent that. Ask yourself whether there will be any opportunity that is required of you, that if you did this, you're gonna get this. If you are a sweeper, you will get money without going to somebody's office to beg for money. Whether if you are a driver, if you're driving for whatever job you do, that money you make from that job will allow you to feed your own family. Whatever you do, whether you are a wheelbarrow pusher, is that going to allow you for the children to say, Papa, come home today? That is the question we need to ask ourselves, all of us not supposed to work in government. No, it's not how it works. It's your job is going to be respected. If you are a sweeper in the ministry, is the minister going to respect you? Are you going to have job dignity? Or are you going to be as a driver of the minister, go home and be sent by the minister to go in the market for his wife? If all these things are not good for you, then you should think who else should be the manager of Liberia. Is Mr. Weah going to make sure that the police will have the power to arrest anybody, regardless of your position, whether you are minister, senator? The law should not be applied to the common people alone. The police should have the power to arrest anybody. Are you going to ask yourself that if any big man does any wrong, they will not say, you know who I am? If all of these things are wrong, then this coming election, ask yourself question, who can give this thing to you? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ja Winking Weah, and thank you to all of you for your contribution. Now let's talk about the actual economic condition of Liberia. We know the president going to give us his report on how it's been for the past 365 days and his plan on improving it for the next 365 days. But hey, we have news out of Liberia. We know the reality. And Liberians that get to live in Liberia every single day knows the reality. From your point of view, from what you know, how is the economic condition in Liberia right now? Talk to us about that. Honorable Sylvester Wamplu, I'd like to begin with you. What is the economic condition in Liberia? Is it good, bad, getting better, worse than it ever could be? Talk to us, Sylvester Wamplu. Wamplu.
And Liberians are suffering, and their lives are in horrible condition. People go to bed, Liberians are suffering, and their lives are in horrible condition. People go to bed hungry. Young people are jobless. The energetic group of people who should work and develop the country, they are jobless. So people are not making much in salary to the extent that government have to cut down salary. The president was making 200, he's not making 120. That is a setback to such a president. Things are expensive on the market, which I may agree that things are expensive all around the world. But jobs are available to match the expenses of things of goods on the market. But on the contrary, goods and services on the market are expensive, and people do not have money in their pocket to purchase those goods and services. They are jobless, and right now everybody is settled. I too much more in the ballot. That Mr. We are just talking about why people take their market from their business from the market building and put it on the road. Because the people want a few buyers to buy. So they take it from the market building and put it on the road to meet the few buyers that go to the market to be the first to interact with the buyers. So companies are less in the country, and NGOs closed down. Many NGOs leave the country. Government is now the higher employer, but pay less and pay after 4 months. The government ministry 5 months. To the extent the government can even owe the legislature 2-3 months salary and all the ordinary people 5, 6, 7 months. Save us. So the life of Nigerians are deplorable, worse, in a difficult situation. Right now, the 25 kg death arrest is around $17. Somebody will say in Ghana that $40. Don't bring that joke to me. From the onset of Liberia, West have always been, which is our staple, have always been cheaper in Ghana and Ghana being expensive. So even if breast was $5 in Liberia, then in Ghana was $15. So if it is now 50, it is now $15. It is now 45. So it tells you that it have never happened in our history. And for the level of things that people even have money they don't buy, people want go, people should go, people stay online.
Sylvester,
Breast
can you
crisis.
close?
So to close on this, breast crisis, which is the staple food of Liberia, occurred 3 different times under the government. People are struggling to get these basic commodities for survivability. So the deplorable conditions of people in the country is very hard. Even we that are running to become aspirant, run for office, it becomes a burning on us that we will be able to reach out to people because of
Thank
our
you.
conditions. Thank
Thank
you.
you very much, Honorable Sylvester Wamplu. And Reverend Addy, let me come to you and Mr. John Winkin. We are before you can keep in mind that we've run out of time for this segment.
Okay.
So if you guys can keep your answer on many, I will appreciate it. But yeah, talk to us about the current economic condition in the country. Reverend Addy.
Well, from listening to family members and friends on the ground, Liberia's economy is very challenging for the people living there. Responsible men have become beggars. Children are roaming the streets when they should be in school, selling cold water, indicative of the hardship in the country. We constantly are sending money home to sustain our friends and loved ones at home. It is the economy is in a really terrible state as it relates to the well-being of the Liberian people living on the ground and what they're reporting. It's embarrassing. It's a shame. Men are becoming beggars. Price of rice have gone up. Taxes are gone up, and people's salary have been cut, harmonized. Government just regularized 3 months of pay for its people, and they're celebrating. So it's in a really terrible state. Inconsistent with the rampant corruption that has been happening and how government is unable to account for missing funds, with respect to the airport monies, respect to the rice money, $11 million, $20 million, the saga with the Western cluster money of $140 million, $40 million unaccounted for, $10 million need to be explained. So there are just too many things happening in the country, which is directly affecting the economic well-being of the Liberian people, not to mention the poor health care and the underfunded education. So
Thank you.
Liberia's economy is tough.
Thank you very much, Reverend Addy. Mr. John Winkin, give us your take on this question. What is the current economic condition in Liberia as you know it? So talk to us about it.
As I know it, people in Liberia are living at a mercy of nature, on hope. When one gets up in the morning, they hope to go to town. Somebody will see them to give them something. They go visit a friend. There is no opportunity to say if they were to go somewhere to find a job to do. And there is one thing I like to say. If you like, you make all the counties in Liberia, that is not development. It will not bring money. Big government does not bring about money. And that is the reason why the government is finding it difficult to pay workers, because there are no company, there are no investment to bring in money. So to avoid that kind of situation, government needs to end the patronage system, stop the stealing, going around distributing money. The money for the Liberian people, there should be a structure where people will work and get paid. There should be a structure that will encourage investors to come into the country. Let them stop getting kickbacks from companies, even the people that are working with Liberian people, because government go to them for weekend. They hardly pay their own people. That needs to stop. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. John Winkin. And thanks to all of you guys. When you're watching us, give us your take in the comment section. And just to close this segment of the horizon, I would like to read the last one of the last statement from the president in his last or State of the Nation address. He said, based on the report, no, no. Let me read this thing and starting from here. I have now concluded the mandatory reporting requirement of the annual message as stipulated in Article 58 of the Liberian Constitution, which requires me to provide details of national income and public expenditure for the previous year, as well as my legislative agenda for the ensuing year, and to comment on the economic condition of the republic and the state of the nation. Based on the report that I have just made to you, I can state categorically and with confidence that the state of our economy is stable and growing, and that the state of the nation is peaceful and strong. To those of you watching us, and as our panelists have just contributed, whether that is accurate or inaccurate, that is for you to decide. But for now, we will take a very brief break, and when we come back, we will continue on this show talking about the opposition black. My name is Derek Alley, and this is the Horizon on the Liberia Radio and Television Network.
Hi, my name is Theophilus Julipon Nelson I. I am the founder and CEO of Lift Africa LLC. Lift Africa started as an employment agency that has sought the employment of immigrants coming to the US and finding ways and means to be able to start life in this great country. Now we have added airport pickups and drop, car rental, hall rental. As you see, we have a new business location. We started with just a little office part, but today we have a whole complex that we can do a lot of stuff with.
Hello everyone, my name is Geneva Krantz. I'm the Executive Administrator of Uplift Africa. We have an excellent employment rate at our company. We work with and for you regardless of your situation. If you've ever been in prison, maybe your background isn't great, do not worry. We have a place for you here. We believe in equal opportunity for everyone, especially you. So sign up today and begin earning.
My name is Emmanuel B. Horton, Operational Director for Live Africa. Live Africa is the place to be.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for being with us. You're watching the Hard Zone on the Liberia Radio and Television Network. My name is Derek Yale, and if you've been with us, you know here there is no gimmick, no fluff, just real talk. Let me have my panelists back on, and we will get right into our next topic for the night. The opposition community is now calling on the government for the replacement of the current National Election Commission chairperson in person of Miss Deveta Brown Lasano. So let me bring this conversation to my panelists to get your opinion. With less than a year left before the elections, opposition community is now calling for the replacement of the current chairperson of the National Elections Commission. And just to give you some information on the chairperson of the National Election Commission, she was appointed on April 10th, 2020 by the President of Liberia, of course, Madam Weah. And she hails from Maryland County. She holds double degrees in public administration in political science, respectively, from the University of Liberia, and she has a Master of Public Administration degree in Public Sector Management from the Cottington University Graduate School. So let me bring this to your attention. The opposition community is requesting for the replacement of the current chairperson of the National Election Commission. Mr. John Winkin, we would like to start with you on this. Give us your introduction on this subject matter. You're muted.
So I know maybe they did it from their end.
You started talking. Go ahead.
Hello, you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, but I have not touched anything. So so what I was saying is that, in my opinion, to avoid all of that, we need to put in place in a system where the chair people or those who are serving the election commission are selected based on consensus by the political parties. They should nominate people. Then from their names, the president should make the appointment. That's my opinion. But having said that, the president still has the right to accept or reject and know who we are is. I don't think he's going to listen to any opposition political party in Liberia. Based on her dealing, I think it is right for the opposition to call for replacement because of the way she has been handling things about awarding contract relatives and other stuff. But having said that, Liberia is Liberia. The president has the power to appoint. Until we change that structure of appointing people, there is nothing much we can do about that.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Jarwinkin. We had Honorable Wamplu, let me come to you. Give us your take on this discussion. The opposition community is now calling for the replacement of the chairperson of the National Election Commission. Give us your initial take on that. You're muted.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So the chairperson of the National Election Commission want to put Liberia into a chaos. So when you look at the elections timeline, see the disgrace she brought.
I think it's internet. We will come back to you, Honorable Sylvester Wamplu. Reverend Adi, talk to us about the opposition community calling on the current administration to replace the current chairperson of the Election Commission.
Well, I can certainly see why they're doing that. Number one, the awarding of the contract raised eyebrow, to a company that doesn't seem qualified to handle the affairs of the elections. Her fellow commissioners had to correct her, and the postponement of dates. So I can certainly see why they are very concerned about the handling of these very crucial elections that are soon coming. So it makes sense to ask for her to relinquish that position because of demonstrated ineptitude, unethical practices, such as the awarding of contract to that Chinese company.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Reverend Adi. Now let's do what Mr. Jarwinkin Weah said. He said, knowing the president of Liberia, he's not going to listen. And elections is less than a year away. So what if the president of Liberia refused to listen to the opposition community and he keeps his current chairperson for the Elections Commission? What other steps will the opposition bloc be taking, given the fact that they don't trust the current chairperson? Let me start with you, since I just ended with you, Reverend Adi.
You want to start with me?
Yes. What necessary step will the opposition bloc take if the president refuses to replace the current?
Liberia is a country of law. We can pursue the legal means through the Supreme Court or the necessary legal institutions per hurricane that may be able to handle these issues, provided they have documented evidence to prove that Madam Brown or poses a risk to having a free and fair elections. So there are several tools they can work with. We are a nation of laws, and if these issues aren't resolved per the evidence provided by opposition, then we have the right to assemble and petition our government according to our Constitution, Articles 1 and 17, and possibly alter the government.
Thank you. Possibly altering the government of Liberia. Now, let me come to you. Since Honorable Sylvester Wamplu is here, let me take this conversation backward a little bit. Come, give us your introduction on the issue of the opposition community calling for the replacement of the current chairperson of the National Election Commission.
Yeah, so as I was saying, the chairperson is trying to put our country into fear because the election is not something we should joke with. And I see the last time she gave us that we are using a biometric system. And December 15 was a set date for us to start a voter registration process. Now, she took that election process to March. And when you look at the timing of the campaign period,
we're having some technical issue with Honorable Wamplu, so we'll come back to you, Mr. Jai Winkin Weah. What if the current administration refused to replace the current chairperson of the election commission?
I think as Pastor Ali said, we have laws in Liberia. I do not know the specific law that the opposition will use to compel the Weah government to listen or to abide by the request to replace or the suggestion to replace the chairman of the election commission. Also, I do not know how. I don't know how would that work. Whether our justice system in Liberia, as we've been saying it, the president will claim that he has the power to appoint whoever he wants, or even let's assume that if they were to succeed, to have her removed, we will still have the power to appoint another person as chair of the election commission. So, in my opinion, to change that problems in Liberia, we need to look at the structure. If that is in the constitution, we need to do constitutional amendment to change the way people who are handling elections in Liberia are handled. The same way it is handled in the United States. This bill should be independent outside of the influence of the president or even the government. So Liberian being what it is, we just hope that we trust whatever we're going to have free and fair elections.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jai Winkin Weah. Let me stay with you for a moment, Mr. Weah. Now, you and Reverend Adi talks about taking the legal route, following the legal process. If the president refused to replace the current chairperson, given the request from the opposition bloc. Now, you do realize that the legal process takes time. Now, my question would be: do you have confidence or trust in the current chairperson to conduct the election that is less than, if I'm not mistaken, 11 months away? Are you confident, or do you have trust in that, in her ability to conduct the elections?
Well, as I said, at this point, I think we all don't have trust in her. But at the same time, we do not have the power, meaning the opposition, to have her replaced. So we have to use the system of adaptation. Work with what you have. We got to adapt. So that means all the opposition should make sure that they have representatives at all sites, or they should demand that at our counting process, they should have representatives from each of the district level or all the polling stations where everything will be done. That is another way that will compel the government or to compel the election commission that things will be done properly. I think that's the only remedy. But Other than that, no legal proceeding takes a long time. But having said that, we can look into having people represented. We can also make sure that to fight for the international community to be represented in all polling stations, not only polling station during the counting process of the ballots. That's, I think, will solve some problems.
Thank you. Back to you, Reverend Addy. Mr. Jawinkin, we are calling for a stronger pool watcher strategy if the current chairperson will remain to conduct the elections. Now, I'll come back to you with the same. I'll come to you with the same issue. Given the fact that the legal process takes a very long time, do you have confidence in the current chairperson of the National Elections Commission to conduct these elections are less than 11 months away?
Um, with respect to my confidence in this appointed person by the president and all of the missteps, we're saying no. My confidence is shaky. Did you hear me?
Yes, I'm listening to you. I didn't want to interrupt you. Your
No,
confidence.
so I was saying, so I was saying, in the context of the irregular postponements of dates pertaining to registration, the awarding of contracts to companies that coming back and saying they're skeptical about conducting the elections, all of these realities makes me a bit skeptical
Now, being
about
skeptical,
confidence.
you're skeptical about your confidence. If you were to advise the opposition bloc, whoever you support, what necessary step would you advise them to take? Given the fact that, like I mentioned, the legal process is long, there's a possibility that the National Election Commission will maintain this chairperson to conduct the elections. What advice would you give them?
I think that they can walk and chew gum at the same time. Considering the awarding of contract to that company that was not within the law and how she did it, that was reason enough to have gone to court. Election is 10 months from now. So you start holding the government accountable, that commission accountable as an opposition, as opposed to allowing things to wait until elections and then you crowd foul. So they need to start taking advantage now of the legal system to address issues of discrepancies based on evidence through the court system and not wait for us to go for elections. And then when there's a result, you start complaining about, the awarding of contract, postponement of dates. No, they need to start holding this commission accountable now.
Thank you very much. Now, let me raise this argument for the government. Now, the opposition community did not complain about the Elections Commission or anything concerning the Election Commission when they had one of the biggest victory, that is the Mozzarella County or in senatorial elections and other elections that they have won. They never complained about the Elections Commission, or they never complained about replacing the chairperson of the National Elections Commission. Why are they complaining now, given the fact that the opposition community is heavily or divided? Why are they not complaining about the current administration or the current chairperson of the National Election Commission? Mr. Jawinkin, let me hear your opinion on that. How would you respond to someone that argues like that?
Okay, well, what I will say is that, number one, this is a new cycle of election for about 6 years.
Okay.
Probably they saw that they lost this election, so they would take steps to make sure to regain lost seats. Moreover, we have a new system in place of this biometric system, which is very new. So we need to really pay key attention. More than that, just because they never interfere with places where opposition win doesn't mean or doesn't guarantee that there will be no cheating. But as people, there is no perfect institution. Anything we observe, as Reverend Adi just said, we need to raise the issue at this time. We should not wait last minute of time before we start raising issue about cheating and all of that. So what I can say lastly is that under the new system, we need to closely mark every step of the way because it is new to all Liberians. And this government is not willing to leave power after 6 years. So it is possible they may likely do something to keep them in power, to do what they think they were unable to do in the last 6 years. That's what I think people should be skeptical about that.
What would you say to someone that argues that this is all just scare tactics coming from the opposition community? What would you say to them?
It's no scare tactic. Nothing scary about it. Nothing scary about this stuff.
How can you convince someone that it's not scare tactics? Because
because the action of awarding contracts to questionable institutions, to relatives involved in the stuff, that is worth concerning to anybody who loves democracy, for anybody who loves peace and democracy in Liberia that would try to nurture in that country. So to sit back to say, well, these people are just playing politics. Politics is everyday thing. Nobody should tell you that you're playing politics. Those who are accusing you, even though they are in government, which is politics, but they're telling you that you are playing politics. So what I can say is that it is right for people to really protest, to express whatever they observe in all the electoral process at this time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ja Winkin. Let me come to you, Reverend Adi. Same question. What would you say to someone who argues that the opposition, one, is just playing scare tactics now, and two, why are they complaining about the current chairperson of the Elections Commission now, given the fact that they are heavily divided and they are not united, but they seen chairperson on their watch, they won several big elections. Why are they complaining now? How would you respond to people that argues like that?
Well, national elections, the presidential elections are very different from that of legislative elections. Presidential election has very greater consequence or disproportionate outcomes if not managed carefully. Don't underestimate the opposition's maturity for weakness. The fact that they are hoping that government will correct some of the issues that are being seen, and them being a bit silent on it doesn't mean that they are afraid or, it doesn't mean that they are afraid, but rather they exemplify maturity and patience, hoping that government will correct these ills. So they're not afraid. This idea of them not being united, even the current government as it is, as a coalition, they have split. NPP is split. Prince Johnson's party has not yet committed. They also have issues with this coalition of a government. So I think victory is up for grasp. It's up for grasp, depending on the messaging of all of the different opposition parties and that of the government. So I think there should be an equal footing, but a major factor of determinant is that of the Election Commission. She has to be very careful because these are very crucial elections that can tamper with the peace and stability of Liberia if not carefully handled. Thank you.
Thank you. And one last question before I let go of you guys. On this subject, the most recent report from the U.S. State Department on Liberia, one of the credits that this current administration receives is that the government or ability to conduct free and fair elections. Since President Weah became president, all of the elections were considered free and fair. So what if the president or the current administration or the chairperson argues that they have conducted several free and fair elections and that she is capable of handling the elections that is to come? How would you respond to that? Speaking from the opposition point of view, let me stay with you, Reverend Adi.
So, free and fair is very relative. Don't forget, there were some qualms about the lo-fi elections in terms of discrepancy in the numbers that were posted on the NEC website and then taken down and so forth and so on. So like I said, that even prompted Honorable Boakai to make a statement that the local elections, though they are allowing it to slide, must not be underestimated. That in the general election, similar thing will happen. That was the strongest Ambassador Vice President Boakai had been on issues of elections in the country. And that was a very strong warning to the government, letting the government know that they shouldn't be underestimated because they're exemplifying maturity in the matter of elections in Liberia.
Thank you very much, Reverend Addy. Let me come to you, Mr. Jawinkin Weah. How would you answer someone or the current administration or the Elections Commission chairperson stating that she has been given a lot of credit for conducting free and fair elections, and she thinks that she can handle this one come this year? Go ahead.
That's what I said earlier. That because she administers some election doesn't mean that the 2023 election will not have problems. Moreover, this one under her watch is bigger than few district or community elections. We are now talking about the entire country for both presidential and representative senatorial elections, something like that, senatorial elections. So this is a bigger one. It is not where it's a by-election in a one county or one district. But you were talking about Monserrato. That was only one Monserrato. So everybody has a stake in these elections. It happens every 6 years. So if Liberians sit back and mess up, they have to wait for another 6 years. That is why it's critical for everybody to be involved and think critically whatever they see to talk about it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jawinkin Weah, and also to you, Reverend Addy. But at this point, we would like to close out on this conversation on this subject matter. And to you, when you're watching us right now and on the Liberia Radio and Television Network, please engage the program in the comment section. Of course, feel free to share the program on your individual social media pages as well. But for now, we will take a very brief break, and when we come back, we will get into we'll get into our next segment for the show. My name is Derek Yale, and we'll take a very brief break. I'll see you after.
At Fatu's, we know what it's like to feel a little homesick. That's why we work hard to bring you the very best and freshest imported foods and supplies from home. With quality design African cloths, beauty supplies, and tasty African food items, you'll feel right at home. So what are you waiting for? Stop by Fatu's African International Market for all of your household and family needs. See you soon.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Wherever you're watching us from, you're watching on the Hard Zone on the Liberia Radio and Television Network. And of course, like I say, always continue to engage the program in the comment section, especially this segment. Let me have my panelists back on the screen. We are now at the icebreaker round of the Hard Zone. This is the Hard Zone, and this is the fans' favorite round of the Hard Zone, the icebreaker. It is the new year, so our icebreaker question today is: what is your New Year resolution? The New Year resolution for the year 2023. Reverend Addy, let me start with you.
I want to live a life more for Christ, build a more intimate relationship with Him, serve others for His glory.
Thank you very much, Reverend Addy. Mr. Jawinkin Weah, what is your New Year resolution?
I want to live in the present, to be able to adapt to situations, to avoid complaining, and being able to learn from mistakes.
Thank you very much, my New Year's resolution is everything you guys said, and also to appreciate the people that God has put around me, to love life for what it is now, and continue to work on improving myself, to be happy to feed myself both spiritually and mentally, to focus on to fight the mental health battle. It is a real thing to put my mental health first as well. So focus on me and do what is required of me. So now, guys, if you're in the comment section, what is your New Year resolution as well? You can post it in the comment section, and we'll be sure and happy to highlight it on this show as well. But now, guys, tonight has been we've had a very fruitful discussion on this panel. We'll talk about the former Vice President Joseph Yema Boakai, his relationship with the former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, and whether his relationship with the former President is contingent to his bid to unseat President Weah. We also talk about the upcoming President Weah State of the Nation address, and we talk about the opposition platform and requesting that the current chairperson for the Elections Commission be replaced. So it has been a very fruitful conversation, and I would like to thank you, Mr. Jawinkin Weah, and you, Reverend Addy, and also Sylvester Wamplu for your contribution on this show tonight. But for now, let me give you guys the opportunity to close on this segment and on this episode of the Hard Zone, beginning with you, Reverend Addy.
Well, I want to thank all of your dedicated listeners and this esteemed panel. The powerful CEO and the women in the back who just consistently, do a very great show in terms of planning. I truly appreciate the privilege, and I'm looking forward to having more of these discussions surrounding our nation state, Liberia. It is my prayer that President George Weah succeeds. As for us who are commenting on the realities on the ground, it is intended to raise awareness that the president will introduce and institute policies to improve the well-being of the Liberian people. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Reverend Addy, and please do close for us as well, Mr. Jawinkin Weah.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say thank you to the LTN, LRT family and those who are in the backyard. But what I'd like to say to all Liberians is that we can't keep doing the same thing and expect different results. In Liberia, we are being electing people based on either tribal affiliation, based on somebody who give us money, or political affiliation. But we haven't asked ourselves how this kind of act has changed anybody's life. So for the reason, this coming election, we should really think critically to think about putting somebody in power who will be able to bring about real change. It's not about an individual, but it's about our institutions. Our institutions are not working in Liberia. That is our problem since we got independent. So for me, as a person, I trust one person that can change that to bring about the functioning of the institution. And that person is Tiawonse Gongro. That is why I support him. All my family, friends who trust me, they should also support him. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jawinkin Weah, Reverend Addy, and Sylvester Wamplu for your contribution tonight on the show. And also to those of you that are watching us, and those of you that share the program tonight on your social media pages, we say thank you so much for your continuous support. But for now, we would like to draw the curtain on this segment, on this episode of the Hard Zone, not before we get into our happiness round. So let's take a brief break, and when we come back, we will give you the announcement for today and call this a day. Thank you. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for staying with us tonight on this episode of the Hard Zone. My name is Derek Yale, and you're watching the Liberia Radio and Television Network. So for announcement today, we have two announcements, beginning with one. The Poverty Action Fund for Philadelphia, in partnership with the African Cultural Alliance of North America, for short ACANA, is offering to the general public free or taxes. So to say, file your taxes for free. And you to make appointment, you can call 215-729-8225 with the extension 105. And again, the number is 215-729-8225. Extension is 205 to have your taxes for 2022 done. And there are some documents that you need to bring with you and for identification or regional driver's license, such as your state or federal issue ID, passport, green card, naturalization certificate, and also, of course, you need to have your W-2 with you. And for childcare, year-end statement, provider employee ID number, and social security number, healthcare 1095 A, B, or C, and your home for home property tax, mortgage, interest, and other expenses. So you need to have all of those documents ready to have your taxes done. So again, Akana is offering to do your taxes done for free. And moving to our next assignment, next announcement, we have Akana, the Calabash Pantry is still ongoing. And again, the address is 7016 Terminal Square, room 26A. So every Tuesday, every first and third Tuesday between 12 noon and 4 p.m., go to 7016 Terminal Square, PA, Upper Darby, PA, room 26A to get free food and free lessons on how to make African food. And this is being offered by the Multicultural Community Family Services. So again, that's it for announcement. And again, thank you so much for being with us. And at this junction, I would like to close the curtain, draw the curtain on this episode of the Hard Zone. Again, my name is Derek Yale, and this is the Liberia Radio and Television Network.